Posted by you/ornery bookkeeper 8115. I, 31F, have 3 siblings, 40M, 38F, 27M, and we have a good relationship despite the age gaps between some of us. My older siblings are both married, and so am I. The wedding in question is my younger brother's. My younger brother Luke is engaged to his girlfriend of a year, Emma, 28F. She's nice, I guess, but we've never really clicked and are just polite to each other. Something important to note is that we are all Catholic, though we're not very strict, and some of us are even lapsed. I believe this whole situation started when I first met her. I look younger than Luke, and it's always been a sibling joke that I'm truly the baby of the family. Most people who meet us assume he's older than I am, but nobody's had an issue with it until Emma. The day I met her, she kind of scoffed when I said I was happy the baby had a proper girlfriend. She has this thing about being the eldest in her family and refused to believe I was older than her until I showed her my ID. She's been hot and cold with me since then, often infantilizing me or trying to act bossy. I just let her be and usually ignore her since I have no time to try and beg for her friendship. I am polite and civil, always include her when planning stuff, but don't really make an effort. The family knows about it, but we've just shrugged it off as different personalities. Then the wedding planning started. Emma decided I couldn't be in the wedding party since I wasn't married in a church, which was fine by me. Then she requested that immediate family submit their dress plans so she could check they fit the wedding dress code. Fine, whatever. You see where this is going, I hope? I haven't gone to confession or taken communion in more than a decade. If I attend Mass for whatever reason, I am respectful and simply sit or stand during the rites. I don't participate. Well, this isn't good enough for her, and she says I need to take communion during their wedding. I said no, and she hasn't taken it well. As I said before, I usually avoid her, but this time I wasn't going to say yes just to avoid an issue. I told her that, to take communion, one needs to go to confession, and I didn't want to. She said all immediate family members are doing it, and it would look bad if I didn't. I told her, sure, fine, then I'll just go have communion in front of everybody but won't do confession. She said that if this was going to be my attitude, I was uninvited from the wedding because I clearly wanted to ruin the day for her. I turned to my brother, told him thanks, gave him a thumbs up, and went home. My family understands my reasoning and said they respect everyone's choices, but they think I shouldn't have said what I said. I told them I really don't want to go to the wedding anymore and that I don't owe Emma explanations about my life. I only called my grandma because she heard what happened and asked me not to disrespect the church by taking communion without confession. I promised I wouldn't do it, and she's fine with me now. I got a text from my brother wanting to compromise, so I replied by asking if the other lapsed people are being made to go to confession too. He said no, because it was only nuclear family members. I find it funny since all the others are clearly older than her, and she just behaves like this with me and the younger ones. Ada? Update 1 day later. Things have progressed, but I wouldn't call any of this positive. I'd like to clarify something I keep seeing in the comments. I won't request a special blessing or go in the queue for communion. It isn't about the blessing or the compromise but rather about being singled out. I often just stay quiet or accept a general family blessing if we go to weddings, etc. I have no issue with compromises. I have an issue with Emma and her ridiculousness. I don't know why she has this thing with me. I do look young, but obviously not like a teen or a child. She has 2 younger sisters and is very authoritative with them. I've witnessed her being very my way or the highway with younger people, so she has issues for sure. The confrontation from the last post was on Tuesday, and today we had lunch at my grandma's. You should also know that my brothers have a tricky relationship. They're not as close to each other as they are with other siblings. My older brother Robert is very no-nonsense, and he has never been a fan of Emma, but he didn't think he should have to intervene because Luke is an adult and capable of navigating relationships. All this is going to be relevant, I promise. We visit Grandma a lot since she lives by herself, and we truly enjoy her company. Today we were all there because she is over this drama already. After lunch, which was more like snacking, to be honest, she asked us all to clear the air. Emma continued her rant about me being a disrespectful person and insisted she was asking the bare minimum from me. My grandma asked her why she had no issue with her not taking communion, and Emma said it was because she was her elder and, for sure, her reasons were more than a tantrum, as it was in my case. She also repeated that she was asking this of all the siblings and that I was the only one being difficult with her tiny request. This is where everything crumbled for her. I mentioned in the comments that Robert is also lapsed, and he was already exhausted by this situation. He asked her why she had no issues with him not taking communion, and she looked like a kid who was caught. She didn't have a proper answer. Robert then asked her if she even knew why he and Grandma became lapsed. She shook her head and looked at Luke for help, but Luke, on the other hand, was staring angrily at Robert and me and said nothing. Robert explained to Emma that he was the reason Grandma became lapsed. When Robert was a teen, he came out as gay and was very worried about our grandparents' reaction, as they were very active in the Catholic Church. Grandma felt awful about it, and even worse when she spoke about it with the then priest of her church. That priest was super old school and told her that Robert was committing sins, was going to hell, needed to find his way, the whole 9 yards. Grandma didn't take that well, so she simply stopped going to church and started spending that time with her grandchildren. Over the years, she began getting involved in the community again but decided she was done taking the sacraments. She respects parts of the church but can't fully reconcile with it. Emma was a bit confused, since Robert is married to a woman, and he explained that he's bisexual and happened to end up with a woman just as he could have ended up with a man. He also mentioned they're not married in the church, but that didn't matter to her the way it did when it came to me. He asked her directly what her problem was with me. Long story short, she said I was rude from the beginning and kept treating Luke poorly. Oh, and apparently I was also very snarky about looking younger than her. Awkward silence. She's a beautiful, successful woman, so I still don't understand her obsession, but it seems like she wants people to see that I respect her and what she says. I just started laughing, and she started crying, claiming I turned my grandma against her. My grandma told her to stop blaming people for her own negativity and said she would always side with me over her. Luke got upset at that and asked her why she wasn't supporting him, and she simply said she doesn't support him being a lapdog for a crazy woman. More was said, but nothing truly got resolved. I was kind of invited again but declined to go, and Grandma is undecided if she even wants to go at all. My older siblings told Luke they would attend the ceremony if he seeks couples therapy or at least therapy. My parents are having headaches and now dislike Emma so much they can't hide it. Oh, and yes, Grandma spoke with the priest, and he wants them to do extra premarital counseling or he won't officiate. I hope they don't get married, but he's old enough to derail his life if he wants. Thank you for letting me vent, and my grandma loved the Pope joke. Second update 2 days later. My brother has gone too far, and I've decided to be done with him. He made our grandma cry, and I think he may have permanently damaged a lot of his relationships. Some of my cousins and other family members thought I was just being stubborn and creating drama, but now there's no longer my side or Emma's side. Maybe he's always felt this way, but the issue he has with Robert is absolutely ridiculous. He was so upset with what Grandma said about him being Emma's lapdog that he called her to discuss it. I wasn't present for the conversation, but Grandma told me what happened, and Luke confirmed it. He told her that it was unfair of me to ask Robert for help since Robert was her favorite grandchild and would get her to side with me no matter how wrong I was. He also told her that many of the cousins felt this way and that it was obvious because she even left her religion for him. He claimed the other LGBTQ+ members of the family, most of whom weren't even born when Robert came out, by the way, doubted if she would do the same for them. So, Grandma explained things to Luke and then called every single one of her grandchildren to ask them how they felt and to share a part of the story we didn't know. She said that when Robert came out and she spoke with the old priest, he hinted at knowing places to set Robert straight. Grandma had heard horror stories about these places, and so had Robert. Together, they spoke with my parents to ensure that this was absolutely not an option. My parents never intended to send Robert there and are very casual Catholics, but Grandma wanted to cover all bases just in case. I was told Grandma sounded like she'd been crying on the phone. After the first few calls, which went from oldest to youngest, the group chat started to blow up. Robert was livid, our LGBTQ+ cousins were livid and said Luke lied, and even the cousins who told me to stop being stubborn were livid. By the time it was my turn for a call, I was already on my way to Grandma's. 2 of my cousins were already there, and the youngest one, Sarah, 16F, was ready to literally fight Luke. For a bit of levity, Sarah is about 35 centimeters shorter than Luke, and the image of her swinging at him made me laugh a little. She asked if I was making fun of her, and I just explained the whole mental image of her trying to hit him, and she admitted it was kind of funny. What I didn't tell her is that I'd love to slap some sense into Luke myself. My grandma has been through so much in her life, and this is not what we want for her. She looked puffy-faced and kept asking everyone if they truly felt unloved by her, saying she would do anything for any of us. She explained how Robert was the oldest grandchild but that this didn't mean she loved the rest any less. She's a strong woman, but I think something inside her broke a little at the thought that she'd hurt her grandchildren. It was a mess, a big one, and I was just so done with Luke. My parents have been passive about the situation so far because I asked them to be, but after they heard what happened, they told Luke they needed time away from him. Robert is simply disgusted and decided not to speak with him anymore, which he communicated through the cousin group chat. Luke's response was that this is why Emma's help in reining us all in would be so beneficial if we'd just let her. He also added that Robert never cared for him or anyone else and just tried to be the center of attention all the time. He cited his coming out, his announcement that he was going to marry a woman, and the birth of his child. It was ridiculous. He came out when Luke was a toddler, and for many years only our parents and grandparents knew. He announced he was going to marry his now wife through a text and didn't interfere with or take attention from anyone. His child was born 4 months before Luke's graduation, and apparently, that was a big issue for Luke that he never even mentioned. Maybe I'm biased, maybe I am selfish like Emma claims, but I call BS on his tantrum. Every single one of the cousins has been helped, babysat, tutored, gotten out of trouble, you name it, by Robert. He isn't perfect, but he's not the conniving jerk Luke is making him out to be. Maybe Luke has always felt inadequate, and we didn't notice, or maybe this was his last-ditch effort, or maybe Emma has manipulated him to the point that he can't come back. It doesn't matter anymore. If he does marry Emma, I wish him the best. If he doesn't, I hope he goes to therapy. Regardless of what he decides, he's burned so many bridges and hurt so many people that I don't see this being resolved anytime soon. For now, I'll focus on my grandma and on making her feel better. I feel extremely guilty because it was Emma's situation with me that opened this can of worms. I know I shouldn't, but it's hard not to.